Frank Calderon from the Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department, and let's talk about plastics. And I did want to pay recognition. In 1967, there was a movie called The Graduate, starring Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
And I don't know the guy's last name.
Mr. McGuire.
Mr. McGuire.
I watched the clip on YouTube just the other day because we were just talking about this.
So this is what he said to him with his arm around Benjamin, starring Dustin Hoffman. I want today say one word to you. The word is plastics. So let's hear about plastics.
Yes. All right. Plastic recycling. Well, first, let's say that America Recycles Day is coming soon. So we wanted to dedicate this month to recycling with a focus on plastics today. The future, plastics, as Mr. McGuire tells Ben in the movie, which is Dustin Hoffman. America Recycles Day is the 15th of November. That was started by Keep America Beautiful, which if I'm not mistaken, they're the ones that that did that famous commercial in the 70s, the Native American Indian with the teardrop from his eye. I think they're the ones behind that. I can't say with 100% certainty because I didn't do my research on that. They do have a local chapter, though, that works with the Parks Department. It's called Keep Miami-Dade County Beautiful. Just a little plug for them. They work with us on the Let's Clean Things Up program. But anyway, they're the ones behind America Recycle Day. They started in the 90s, and it grew, and it's Tuesday of next week, the 15th.
So in the beginning of my life, when I would see every month there's several of these days, it does matter because you can pay attention to that particular thing that's occurring there. And we bring up those things. You brought up about the Indian commercial. I brought up about plastics, the big success with Dustin Hoffman. I thought that was in the 80s. I looked at it. It was 1967. Right? We were just kids then.
A graduate, yeah.
Yes. So, and let's talk about basic plastics, all right, that we all come in contact with every day. So we talk about anything you get from fast food. Those are all plastics, right?
A lot of it, yeah.
A lot of the utensils are.
And the containers.
And the containers for the most part. But yet there are plenty of other plastics. Let's talk about those. Let's talk about in the kitchen and in the laundry room.
Sure. Well, we were talking about, like you said, the fast food, the containers, stuff like that. They cannot be recycled in our program. However, if you're enterprising enough, interested enough, you can, those items there may be some recycling program somewhere that'll accept those items clean, and you can ship it to them, or you can, if there's a place nearby here in Miami-Dade County that you can look for, you could do that. Number one enemy for us is the plastic bag.
But it's made out of plastic. Why is that an enemy?
Plastic. Because, we have, I think we have some pictures. They get wrapped up in the machinery when they go to the recycling facility.
When you get a chance, could we see those? Yeah, when you get a chance.
And they get wrapped up in the machinery because it's filmy. It's not like a good item that we take. But there are places that will take it. Here in Miami-Dade County, there's a lot of places. Certain retail stores will take them. Walmart's, I believe.
And you can bring them back?
Publix. Check first.
Yep.
This item here that you're looking at right now on the screen is an item, and I guess we can talk about it a little bit further later in the show, but this is an item that's actually made out of recycled milk jugs, and it takes I think I took that picture in Chicago when I was on a school trip with my son a couple years ago. I want to say it was Chicago, not 100% sure that that's where it was, but 330 recycled milk jugs made that the plastic that bin is made out of.
So there are
that's where you can take it. At Walmart, they have, some of the stores have those. Check your nearest store. Don't assume. And they'll take the plastic bags back. And as a matter of fact, they say on there that they'll take any clean plastic bag from any store.
It's nice to see that there are plenty of companies that are participating in that. When people go into the big box drugstores, if it's one or two items, you can say, please, no bag and no receipt, right? Yeah. Right. So the bags, maybe one day that'll back up to the manufacturer. People still, I think, have a problem again understanding why these type of bags aren't good for recycling.
Yeah, Andres just flashed a minute ago the picture. If you can put it back up, the one with the hard hat. There you go. That's what happens. You see all that gunk-looking stuff?
Yeah.
That's a what we call star screens, and it's a process of when we have a video of
Are those all bags?
Those are all mostly plastic bags that get wrapped up in the machinery. That's the machinery we talk about at the recycling facility, which is contracted out. It's not run by us. It's a contractor that runs it. And the plastic bags get wrapped up and they stop. And you see that poor guy there with the green hard hat has to work.
Yeah,
He has somebody else helping him, but it takes him a couple of hours just to get all those plastic bags off of there because it jams up the machinery. It won't. It slows things down.
Yeah, I might have mentioned before. Years ago, I bought a chipper,
Yes.
and I thought it would be okay for our Areca palms, and it wasn't because it was wet. It was too flimsy, so I couldn't cut it. So eventually, the palm fronds and the string of the trunk turned into very stringy material that jammed up the machine.
There
Right.
you go.
So I learned. All right, what I learned was Sears took it back. So I'm very happy. So
Yeah.
all right, but there are lots of things that we can recycle.
Yes.
Starting with
Number one, plastic bottle, and if you see the picture there on the screen, it's plastic bottles baled by. Those are tons of literally tons of plastic bottles that we receive and are baled at the plant where they process the recycling materials, and that gets sold and made into different items, which includes the blue bin we saw a few minutes ago. A lot of things can be made out of.
So
plastic
from the
bottles.
time it's in
lot of
that
things.
position right there,
Yes.
how long till it's back as a bottle or something like that?
Well, hard to say. They're actually Waste Management Inc., which is our contractor who sells bales these items and sells them. They sell them locally. There was a time when we sold the materials to China, but then China started cracking down and was very strict about quality control, what they can accept, what they can't. So we started. They started selling it locally. They started, or, well, not locally, but here in the U.S. So a lot of places here in the U.S. Have geared up to take these items to make new materials, and we're seeing on the screen right now a shoe that was actually made out of recycled plastic bottles. A lot of things,
Amazing.
a lot of amazing things can be made out of these.
So the process. What is the process of turning this into once it's baled? What does that process look like? So it gets usable with some other format.
Well, when it gets to the recycler, what they typically do is they shred it into like small pellets and wash it, make sure it's clean. Any residue or whatever comes off, I think they wash it with like hot acidy water. There's some acid to it, and it removes anything. It removes the labels that come on these.
It provides a filler for the other products.
And then they get the plastic pellets, and then once they're dry, they can make all kinds. The interesting thing with plastic is, unlike other materials, like let's say aluminum, recycled aluminum cans, they'll be made into aluminum cans. They'll be made into other aluminum products. The plastic bottles can be made into a wide variety of things. New plastic bottles. I think one of the pictures we have is oh no, I didn't ask Andres to pull that picture. They can make furniture, outdoor furniture out of it, and this is stuff that's durable. It's not going to rot like wood.
Oh, so
They
back
can
to
make
these
clothing, they
plastic
make a bunch of
planks
things.
that
Yes.
they make.
Yes.
Those are plastic,
Yes.
and they're like 4-6 inches wide, an inch or two thick.
2x4.
And
They can make them out of wood, or 4x6. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Or 2x6.
Are these plastics used in roadways now or not? Is that what was?
I don't think they're used in roads. I think they use glass. They can use glass, what they call glassphalt, to make asphalt. I don't know if it's actually being done at the moment. I know that there are times when it kind of ebbs and flows. They have too much glass. They can't really do anything with it, but there's a possibility they may actually be doing more of it now because asphalt's made out of petroleum, and the price of petroleum is kind of high right now. So.
I had heard that there's the manufacturers looking into using a different product for concrete blocks. Is that connected to this?
I'm not aware of it. I can tell you from our own experience, unrelated to our recycling program, the resources recovery facility where we incinerate most of the waste, we have been working with a company that makes cement, that produces cement, to use the ash that's left over. We do have to clean it up a little bit. There's some metals found in. They need to be like as pristine as possible. But we've been working on with them to try to see if they can use our ash.
Then the ash is a byproduct of you
Incinerating our
all
waste.
Your waste, which is it incinerates 90% of it.
It incinerates it. Well, it reduces the volume down by 90%, pretty much. Yeah.
So here we have a new electric garbage truck. All right?
Yes.
And pretty soon we may have more and more of our
We're
products
hopeful,
that we
yes.
consume that are getting back and having a second or third lifespan.
Yes. Yeah.
So when we look at this bottle, you think in a month once this goes away, it'll be made into something else?
I don't know how long the process is, but it could be, maybe a month, a couple months. I don't know how long the process is. That's a question I got to ask our contractor.
It's really amazing how, as a universe, we've come along and figured out the things that used to be just a waste. Because it wasn't too long ago, people would say, "Oh no, it's going into the dump, and you got to do this, you got to do that," because it reached the consciousness of the world that these things, one, are bad for the environment. Two, maybe we could do something else. The thing that really impacted me a lot when I would watch the garbage float onto the beaches, whatever countries this were, and it was terrible, right? So one of the lessons: don't drop stuff off your boat. Two,
Yes.
don't pollute anywhere, right? So, and if somebody needs more information about recycling and about what to do with plastics and other things, where can they go?
Well, our residents or our customers can go to our website, miami-dade.gov/recycling. If you want to just learn in general, you can always just use a major search engine and look up the word recycling. But for our program, miami-dade.gov/recycling.
So we have lots of neat things that the county is doing. Can we talk about? We looked at the blue cans over here. Let's talk about the blue carts that are in people's homes. What should they put in those?
Okay, all right. The simple 5, as we call it. Plastic bottles, one of them. Plastic and glass bottles, though that's one of the 5. Cardboard is another one. Paper, paper that you can tear. If it's not like plasticized paper, that's like the Tyvek. We can't accept that. Cans, which could be aluminum or metal food cans or beverage cans, and cartons, like milk cartons, juice cartons, that sort of thing.
So have there been some studies that say this is the kind of garbage that is being produced in Dade County, and that's a trend, right? So we need to be prepared for more of this type of thing. So what were some of the trends that were going on or that are going on now?
Well, we have actually done studies, but recently we did one. I don't remember what the trends were or what, to be honest. I don't think that they completed it yet. They're doing like analysis. They got the data in the field, but yeah, I don't know at this point.
So we know that when COVID came, more people were staying at home, and there were more boxes going to people's homes. So that must have been like when you said, "Oh my God, look at all these boxes."
And those boxes, the thing is that those boxes are recyclable as long as they're clean. If they get wet, we can't recycle them. Pizza boxes, for example, are the best example of a cardboard box that cannot be recycled because the grease and the cheese stick to it, and
it stays sort of wet forever.
And it's never gonna, especially with grease. That grease is never gonna disappear.
I have a lot of shirts like that.
Oh, so do I. So do I.
Oh, gee. All right. So recycling, people really have to start that process before they get to the green cards, while they're in their house. So a really good way is to have 2 different cans, 2 different.
You can do that at your house if that's convenient for you. Yeah.
And to be able to put those things, and people can just start with cans, right? 99% of the cans, single bottle use like this. Dishwashing.
Yes, it's a plastic bottle. Yeah. We'll take it.
So with the change of how people are consuming products in the plastic arena, they're really strong containers, all right? And these bottles, not all of them, but a lot of these bottles became a little bit weaker, but still be able to hold the liquid. Yeah. So I see this bottle right here is very strong as compared to the ones you get at the local grocery store.
Yeah.
Right? The ones at the local grocery store you can see is really thin and used to have to be really strong. Remember that somebody used to
you have to. Yeah, this one's kind of it's not the flimsier one.
Yes.
This one's the tougher one.
So all that is good news for us as far as recycling. And one of the things I saw, I've been around for 30 years, I just saw it the other day, excuse me, my wife Susan. You could actually put this little bag of soap into your washing machine and dishwasher. Can you tell if that's cut into people using the big bottles?
That's a tough one. I'd have to do research. I know that we do. Our material processor, Waste Management Inc. They do compile statistics. I'd have to go back and see. Actually, you know what I did? I did see the amount of plastic has grown. I was looking at, mind you, I'm telling you just from a quick glance, but I was looking to see how many tons of plastic we recycle on an annual basis. I was looking at our annual report, and the numbers have actually gone up. So,
And so what did
yeah.
those people, is that because it's being recycled or because people are buying more stuff that has recyclables?
That's the big question. I don't know the why
Right.
behind it. I just know that it is. The number of the amount that we've been collecting for recycling has increased.
Right. Styrofoam food boxes.
Not in our program. There's very few places where styrofoam is recyclable, unfortunately. I don't know of any in Miami-Dade County that will accept it. So basically that ends up going into the waste. I do know that I've noticed less styrofoam being used all over the place in shipping, with food.
Because the mindset of the people
and
changed.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Don't use that because it's not
people are
good
using
or-
more cardboard containers. For whatever it's worth, the styrofoam, if you put it in the garbage here in Miami-Dade County, it's going to end up most likely being incinerated. So at least it's not going to go to landfill and take up space for centuries.
So the people understand whether it's recyclables or your regular trash, it gets sorted before it winds up
It'll-
going into either an incinerator or into a box.
In our case, very little goes to landfill. I mean, we still use the landfill. We still have the landfills. We still have to have landfill capacity because, you just have to. This is a big county, a lot of people, and a lot of waste is produced on a daily basis. But we try to minimize the amount that actually goes into a landfill. So we either, if it's properly recycled in our recycling program, it gets recycled. And I'm happy to say that it's not a lot, but it's double what we used to recycle in the old system back about 10, 15 years ago. We used to collect about 30,000 tons a year. Now it's 60,000 tons, and it's consistently been at about 60,000 tons of recyclable materials. And it's either that or most of it gets incinerated to reduce the volume and create electrical energy.
So 30,000 homes, or maybe 30 to 40,000 homes. in
About
Homestead,
35,000 homes, roughly, yes.
plus the plant,
Plus the plant itself.
plus
Now the electric truck that we have, and hopefully, in the future, a whole fleet of electric trucks.
And when I was watching all the commercials on TV, I see how many more automobile manufacturers
Are making electric.
make electric vehicles, right? I saw the first truck, a Denali truck that, I don't know, 500 horsepower or something, but a big
Wow.
battery. Yeah, man, big horsepower, right? But I see they're doing all sorts of levels of electric vehicles to get people involved with that. And hopefully there will be lots of recharging or fueling stations, right?
There are quite a few now compared to even just a few years ago. I know, like, you can't go to the Wawa near my house, for example. There's several like Tesla recharging stations there, and they have a gas station plus plus everybody loves they don't call them subs, they call them hoagies because they're from Pennsylvania. But yeah, the one nearest to me anyway, I've seen quite a few electric charging stations there.
I know I'm getting closer to that, and you realize that you have to. I mean, I would certainly have to have a charging station at your house. It's just like part of what you need to do. So the 7 hours overnight, all right, you plug it in, and then you're good. And then if you need to fuel up.
Now, the one thing I understand with charging vehicles is most houses have 110 current. They might have 1 or 2 outlets that are 220, like for the dryer, because it uses up a lot more electricity. If you are able to have if you don't already have it, if you're able to get it installed in your house at 220 volts for an electric vehicle, that cuts the time maybe in half. I'm not 100% sure. But that cuts the amount of time you need to recharge your vehicle.
So my brother Grant test drives new cars every 2 weeks.
Lucky.
It-
That's. I'm jealous. He's jealous of me because I lost weight, but I'm jealous of him because of the cars.
So I'm thinking of, and then while he has it, he has to go get it charged. All right, either long wait right now, or he can't wait to 20 minutes or 30. So it certainly takes some planning. But my son has had a electric car for, I don't know, a couple of years. Lives in an apartment, charges up overnight. That's it. Everybody knows their route, right? So I think as we get a little bit more into it, people of my age might go, all right, I'm ready, because they see all these different charging stations. And maybe in the next 5 or 10 years or so, they'll be all over, and it'll be a little bit easier to do that. So let's talk about people's lawn equipment, and then we're going to get on to the bulky waste pickup. People's lawn equipment, when it's old and tired and you can't give it away by leaving it out on the street or whatever, what can they do with that?
That's a good question. I don't think that we'll take it at the home chemical collection centers or the TRCs. I might be wrong. If it's smaller pieces, they might.
Like
That's a
old
good
weed
question.
whackers and old.
They might take stuff like that there. If there anything that's fueled by gas and has oil or whatever, make sure you drain all the fluids before you bring it. That's a good question, though. I don't know, especially if it's something bigger, a lawnmower or something like that. You might have to take it to a landfill.
Or bring it to your favorite lawnmower shop, leave it out there overnight.
Maybe they'll, if they'll take it,
Maybe,
they might take it.
maybe you could pay them to take it from you.
That's possible.
All right, so last week we had a bulky waste pickup, all right? It was great. We wanted to see if there was another pickup, but it tells you already had your two. You can come next year, which is in 60 days.
Couple months, yeah.
All right, so we're pretty happy with that. But right now, we're under, there's a storm that's headed our way.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so now would not be a good time to, well, maybe it is.
Most likely, I mean, you might think it is, but you and a few thousand other people might think it is, and most likely the appointments are already booked.
Yeah.
So the TRCs are open, though.
So people can cut it themselves and take it in?
And take it in, yes.
And for people to cut it and leave it out on the street, it's going to be a mess waiting to happen.
Yeah, not only that, but you can get, you can get fined if they identify it as yours, as belonging to you, putting it out without a bulky waste appointment.
So I mentioned before out in horse country, there was at first I thought it was a county camera, but it wasn't, because it said on it, there's a big camera.
Oh, okay.
And it said, "We are watching you, all right? Do not dump here," all right? And that's because the homeowner was responsible for that. And if for no other reason, it's a distraction to them, all right? And they have to, if it's on the city property, they have to, county property, the county needs to pick it up. But if it's on your private property, right, the county's not allowed to pick it up. Or
I don't think so, but you may get, see, that wouldn't be our code enforcement, that would be RER, like what people think of as code enforcement that goes around and make sure that you have the fences are the right height and the setback and all that. Those people, one of the things that they'll also look at is if they see piles of waste on your property, and they could give you a citation for that.
So if there's a pile out there, let's say it's only occasional, they could use one of their bulky waste pickup, even if it wasn't theirs.
They could. It's very important, though, to note that if you're going to use a bulky waste pickup, you have to call first before you place items out on the curbside. And get your call, or you can go online. Set your appointment first, and then you do have a 3-day window where you can set the items out before that, but not before the 3 days.
It's very convenient. I've used it several times. And the other day, I just went to where it was. I put in my address, and it pops up. And it was really convenient. All right, and
your timing was good because it's before now. We have this hurricane
and
just
the
suddenly
pile that we
bearing
had
down
was
on
at
us.
least as long as this room, right, and 5 feet, but it kept growing. All right, as I mentioned to you before. And but we make sure we took pictures. We called them ahead of time and said, by the way, people are dumping more stuff. They said, well, we're going to be there tomorrow, so we're happy that they did that. So we've got a couple minutes left. Let's talk again about the green cans. That we each have 1 to 2 cans, or maybe more, depending on where you are. Those pickups are twice a week per household in Miami-Dade County.
Yes.
You do have some contracts with some cities, but for the most part, for our audience.
Well, for the garbage, we pick it up ourselves for this, and I mean, unincorporated, we do have 10 cities that we serve that we pick up garbage and recycling both. We have a few cities that we pick up recycling only, or our contractor does, but they pick up their own garbage. But yeah, if you get the service from us, it's going to have that county logo on the side, and it's going to be the green cart, and it's twice a week. And oh, by the way, since we're here and it's November, we pick up on Veterans Day, we pick up Thanksgiving Day, and the Friday after. So, we always get a lot of confusion about whether we pick up on Thanksgiving. The office is closed. That's me. I get the day off. But the garbage pickup takes place. The only 3 holidays they take, 2 of them have already passed. Martin Luther King. Well, Martin Luther King actually is coming up for next year. And July 4th, Independence Day. Christmas Day is the only other day we don't. And I think this year falls on a weekend. It's always, if it falls on a Saturday, they take the Friday off. If it falls on a Sunday, which I think is the case this year, they take the Monday after. But they do not take Thanksgiving or the day after. They pick up on those days.
So most of the boxes that are going to be delivered to people's homes for Christmas presents, all right, are recyclable, but they got to keep them dry.
Yes.
Right? And that means you close the top
Yes.
on your cans that are there. And approximately how many homes are serviced for Miami-Dade County?
About 340,000. 340,000.
And that's picked up how many times?
Twice a week.
So you're telling me 680,000 pickups a week
Well,
plus?
yeah, because we do half on one day, half on Monday, half on the other half on Tuesday, Wednesday off. The half that was picked up Monday gets picked up Thursday, and the half that was picked up Tuesday gets picked up Friday.
Can you give us a figure about if we were to look at that truck that's going down the street out of the 680,000 homes, how much of that actually gets recycled, incinerated? Half, three quarters, a quarter, more or less?
I think it's about 2/3 roughly, off the top of my head. 60%, 66%, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So if there's
it's
some
more than 50%.
So if there's some really green people out there that really care on this higher level than most of us do, what can they do to reduce their trash footprint?
Well, one thing that we do on a small scale for now is we do work with the UF IFAS, and with I think the Parks Department is also involved on composting. They do the workshop, and we actually provide a free compost bin. We give you a voucher. You have to come pick it up our location. It's listed on our website, or you can look for Miami-Dade Composting or Miami-Dade Home Composting. It should come up top on the search. So if you're interested in composting at your home, you can do that, and we'll provide you with a bin free of charge. You got to go to the workshop first. And then they'll give you a voucher, and then you come and pick it up from us.
A bin, and then you can store your stuff.
You can do the composting. That's one thing you could do. Recycle diligently, but make sure you're recycling the correct items. And then in our program, and then beyond that, plastic bags, for example, you can take to find retailers. Always check first before. Don't just show up to. I was told that Walmart takes them, or Publix, and you show up and then find out that the one that you went to doesn't have the bin, or they're not taking it for whatever reason. Check first, and if you see they'll take the recycling, the plastic bags, bring them there. If they'll take other items that you can't otherwise recycle anywhere else, you can bring them there as well. Just make sure to check first.
And one of the other things people can do is also go to animal services and adopt and rescue a dog rather than going to a breeder, right? And all those type of things. And so, Frank Calderon from Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department, thank you for being here.
Folks, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And Andres, thank you for the show. And have a great day.